Mark. Huddersfield 24, Swinton 28. Congratulations to the Swinton Lions. What a result.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Swinton, and with their links to Wigan this season with the dual reg link up, and a couple of Wigan lads playing in this one, being rushed in with the injury crisis that Swinton had. Young half Josh Woods and Kane Barnes. Is it Barnes Baines? I don't know. In the
my knowledge of Wigan's youth setup is not as good as yours.
But also, it was former Wigan hooker. What's his face? Who came off the bench? And
is it a Liam?
I think it is. Yeah.
Is it another Liam?
What's his name? It's gone from my head now.
His name's Liam. They're all Liams there.
Is it Liam Carberry?
It's something like that, isn't it? Yeah, it's another Liam. Why is he not in the first team? Your uncle's going to get a run out for him soon enough, isn't he? If the injury crisis gets bad enough, they'll just send Sean Wayne out after. Is there anyone in the crowd?
No, Luke Waterworth.
All right. Is there anyone in the crowd called Liam?
Is the player who scored the winning try, who was formerly of the Wigan Academy.
There you go. Fair enough. Okay, but we got some feedback on this one as well, didn't we? Not unsurprisingly.
Mark W got in touch. Huddersfield Giants fan. He said, "If you draw a championship club in the cup, but your first team hasn't won in 2 months, don't be so arrogant as to field a weakened side, or you may end up humiliated." Awful.
There you go.
Yeah, there was a few young lads brought in. I mean, one of them was enforced by getting rid of Briley and Brough being a mouthy twat. And so young Farrell, son of
Liam?
Anthony,
right.
Yeah.
There you are.
Yeah, what was his name? Isaac or something? God, I should have actually looked at who actually played in this game, shouldn't I?
I really hope his name was Liam. Okay, but some other you can dream. Okay, so other results in round 5 of the Challenge Cup. York were defeated 28 points to 50 at home against high-flying League One side Barrow. It was Whitehead in 12, Halifax at 36. Featherstone were 30 points to 4 winners over the Oldham Ruffians, and it was Dewsbury 23, Batley Bulldogs 22 in the Heavy Woolen Cup derby.
I assume that they were singing "Can We Play You Every Week" at the end of that.
You would hope so.
At Dewsbury, because it's the only way they're winning games this year.
There you go.
It would appear.
You would hope so.
That's thrill and excitement gone into extra time in that game for them. So great stuff. The BBC TV game, Halifax beating Whitehaven. No one got in touch about that. I don't think the BBC made the right call there. It feels like.
Yeah.
But it's with hindsight that you could say Huddersfield Swinton was the game for them to be at.
Well, that's it. Yeah, you wouldn't have called an upset necessarily there, would you? You love Swinton Lions, don't you? NRL round 8. It was Canberra Raiders 18, Manly Seagulls 20. Mark.
Yeah, it was, and Josh Hodgson and Elliot Whitehead both played for the Raiders in a narrow defeat, but yeah.
Another narrow defeat for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, though, 24 points to 25 against the Brisbane Broncos.
Narrow and unfortunate when the super slow-mos suggested Milford knocked on in the build-up to the drop goal. But Sam Burgess, 199 metres, Tom Burgess, 173 metres, and George Burgess, 131 metres in his last appearance for a month. But yeah, the Burgesses were getting some action in, yeah.
There you go. Parramatta Eels defeated the Penrith Panthers 18 points to 12. The North Queensland Cowboys were 24 points to 12 winners over the Newcastle Knights. Microneal Sharks were defeated at home 12 points to 14 by the Gold Coast Titans, Mark.
Yeah, and Dan Sargentson ran for 161 metres, played on the wing in this one. Joe Greenwood grabbed a try assist when he came into the fold.
There you go. West's Tigers were 18 points to 12 winners over the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs.
Yeah, and I watched a bit of this one, and the Bulldogs just didn't really have much in the way of creativity, although they did score one of the most phenomenal tries you'll ever see.
All right.
And then everyone thought it'd be pulled back for a double movement, but it turned out the player had fallen off him, so it wasn't. It just lifted it off the floor just in between being touched by the player who fell off him and the player who was coming onto him. But yeah, watch the second try for the Doggies. But James Graham, 161 metres in defence.
Of course, there are 2 games to be played on Anzac Day this Tuesday, which will include Gareth Widdop's St George Illawarra Dragons.
That was where the 2 games at 7 o'clock confusion happened last week.
There we go.
So you can watch that over your breakfast at 7 tomorrow, the Dragons game against the Roosters.
It all resolves itself after a certain amount of time. Right, that is the world of rugby league well and truly covered for this week. Let's take a look now into the future as we bring you our predictions for round 12 of Super League. So to the previews then, round 12 of Super League, a full programme for us this week, Mark, and we start on Thursday night, the Sky game down at Headingley. Leeds take on the Huddersfield Giants. What say ye?
I can't see Huddersfield winning.
No, I can't.
I think it'd be miraculous. I do think, it'd show a lot of character if they can win. But this year, when they got the backs against the wall, all that seems to happen is Danny Brough mouths off at someone. And there was a bit of feist, wasn't there, in this game not that many weeks ago?
That's true.
And I don't know if that'll roll over or not, but because some of the protagonists are out of the game.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see. Leeds do have a bit of a beaten up back line, but I think they've got enough.
Yeah.
I think they're playing well enough. I think they're playing well enough down the middle, and I don't expect Cuthbertson to play big minutes, although he did play, didn't he, against Doncaster. Parcell was given a rest, so I think that's worked in their favour. That the third game of their Easter programme was against a part-time side, and they were able to rest some players. Whereas Huddersfield, although albeit against a part-time side themselves, were taken right to the end and lost the game. It's interesting. I mean, Leeds are right at the top, so whether or not this could be Rick Stone's last game, if they lose it away, would be a tough, big call.
Yeah.
But things aren't going the right way, and if they got hammered here, I could see that being the case. I think it's going to be 30 points to 14. I think Leeds will score some points, but maybe not a shed load because of some of the linkages that they're missing, but they should win this one comfortably.
I think so too, and in fact we've almost predicted the same scoreline. I've gone 30 points to 12. I think there's something endemic going on in the structures at Huddersfield that we're not fully abreast of, that leads me to think that things are not as they should be behind closed doors at the Giants. So yeah, I'm going to go for the same reasons that you just said, 30 points to 12. On Friday night then, Hull FC take on Warrington. It would have been a pick for a grand final this at the start of the season, but they've not really delivered either side, have they, as much as we would have hoped. I like Hull at home based on the gutsy performance, perhaps sometimes too gutsy, against Castleford, and what we're starting to now see from people like Fanua Tumivave, the pivots of this team.
Do you think Warrington copper ban?
What's his charge? What was it?
B. Grade B, and obviously he's just had a ban, hasn't he?
He might do then. He might do. Even so, I think it'll be a close run thing. Warrington just... There's still too many errors and too many mistakes in this Warrington side that to tell me that they're going to go away and get a win. So I'm going 26 points to 18 in favour of Hull. What do you reckon?
I'm going to go the other way, and I don't know if I'm being influenced too much by having seen these two teams play and feel like Hull FC got away with it a little bit at the Halliwell Jones, so Warrington might feel like there's a little bit of unfinished business. Another thing I think Warrington might feel like there's an unfinished business on, I think there'll be a number of players in the Warrington side who will be a bit miffed about not getting in the England squad. I'm thinking of people like Rashford, who you could argue has done nothing wrong since returning to fitness.
True.
Westerman, who we've talked about how good he's been. Darryl Clark, who again, what's he done wrong this season, really? So I think that might spur those guys on. I also think they're probably coming into this in better shape physically than Hull are still. Houghton was in the 19, but then never made the 17, so there's a question mark about his fitness still. If he's back in the side, I think it will probably switch this around, because it would shore up that defence that's been leaky in terms of the tackling at best. But I'm going to go 24-20 to Warrington in this one. I have a feeling that Warrington will win.
Sneaky.
Yeah. Although it's getting to the stage where Hull fans are going to think I'm just dead set against them, which is it's not the case. I stood amongst them.
You've moved amongst them, haven't you, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay. At the same time on Friday night, they're down at the Totally Wicked Stadium. St Helens take on the Lee Centurions. Oh God, I don't know where to start on this. Two teams that are pretty dire from time to time and can contrive occasionally attractive rugby league. Really, I wouldn't thank you for a free ticket to this one. I'm going to go with St Helens at home. Admittedly, they're again a bit patched up and a bit young in the back line. But Lee, the last couple of weeks, has seen what we always thought might happen from the Centurions. At the age of the pack and the knocks started to come in. They didn't look effective with Drinkwater back in the side. I just feel like Saints' home advantage is going to be enough for them to be home and hosed. 20 points to 12.
Well, if Gareth Fox stop having spitting battles for his car window and is back on the field, then I think that could be a big impact for them. Obviously, they've been missing players, Lee, and with their strength in depth kind of situation, that's not going to cut it. But also, similarly, playing their players week in, week out wasn't going to cut it either.
Yeah.
So if they can get anyone back in this into this team, the attitude and that sort of thing they showed against St Helens the first time around. I mean, do you remember they scored all those physical close to the line tries, which was impressive to see. If they can bring that back, they've got a chance. I do think there'll be a bit of an improvement from Lee, but I think the Widnes game came maybe at the wrong time for Saints, and Smith and Farge are working quite well together. They both grabbed tries in that game, and they're both looking threatening at times. And if they can get in, Makinson was rested. I don't think he was too crocked, was he?
No,
he should be back. And he's a great player to bring in to your side. And I think that sort of thing will just give Saints the edge. So 26-20, I think, St Helens.
Okay, Saturday evening then sees Castleford Tigers taking on your Wigan Warriors. There's a lot of things that that may or may not happen that would affect my prediction on this one. Primarily, injuries and availability of halfbacks is the big thing for me. We don't know necessarily what's going on there with two
even number 7,
two key players for both sides. All things being equal, based on them either both not being in or both being in the squad, I'm going to go for a close Castleford victory. Again, just some of the injuries that you guys are kind of a bit... I know the young lads are doing really well for you, but this is an exciting Castleford team on their home trap. And they'll, I think, have more than enough firepower to probably get a win. I'm going to go for a close one there, 24 points to 22. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Well, I need to remember to get my ticket for this. I'll probably order it online when I get home, actually, thinking about it. Because
we'd be home soon enough, mate, won't you?
Forgot to phone up this morning. 27-26 in favour of Wigan. It'll be a Sam Powell drop goal. And look, I think obviously Cass are great, and on their own patch they're even better. But when they played against us, we gave them a lot of their scores, and I think when we run the video back and the players get a look at some of the individual one-on-one efforts, I mean, since that game, and in that game to an extent, apart from the tackle he missed, Taulima Tautai has really aimed up. Tony Clubb won't be playing, and he was pretty poor defensively in that game. One of the ones that led to him realising he needed to do something about his medical situation. But since that time, Frank Paul Nuasala's had 2 of his better games in a Wigan shirt, and Ben Flowers had an uptick in performance. I think we'll go in with Farrell and Isa in the second row, and if Joel Tompkins returns to any sort of fitness, put him on the bench maybe, and that would be, or play him in the middles at loose forward if Lockers goes into the halves. Lulu isn't as big a miss for Wigan as Gale is for Castleford if both don't play. Okay. And I also think if Lulu did play, it wouldn't make as much of a difference as if Gale played.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So if they both played, Gale gives the bigger advantage. If neither of them play,
it's more of a disadvantage to Castleford.
Although Rangi Chase, absolute brilliant step in, to come in, he's got so much creativity and talent, and that's a new thing that we're going to have to potentially deal with. I just think, look, our young kids have been eating up the meters. They can eat up the meters on this short.
Of course
pitch.
they can. Yeah. It's a close. It's the game of the weekend for me.
If people don't make too many mistakes, then I think it's going to be a cracker.
There you go. Castleford. Wakefield take on the Catalan Dragons on Sunday afternoon, a nice traditional time for a spot of rugby league back, and I've got them pegged for a 20 points to 10 win. Catalan, obviously impressive in patches against you lot to have held the lead at one point or another, but Wakefield are a different animal these days. And and I like the way they play rugby. They've got some good strong forwards that eat some metres up, and they're exciting and explosive out wide. So I'm picking a home victory 20